What's up, you guys? It's Rob here. Today we'll be covering ticker symbol GME. We'll cover it on the daily, weekly, and monthly time frame in anticipation of Monday's trading day, April 26th. I'm also going to cover the short interest as well, so we can see if GameStop short interest has decreased or increased over time. But before we hop into all that and cover the technical analysis and everything like that, if you can, drop a like down on this video, hit that subscribe button, make sure that you ring that bell too. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm and helps my channel grow here more on YouTube. Also, I just want to start by saying, in no way am I a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Please take whatever I say with a grain of salt. It is purely just my opinion. And please do not make your own financial decisions based off of just purely my opinion. Please go out and do your own due diligence and look at other information and come to a formed decision. I in no way want to be the executive decision of you buying a stock in AMC, GME, or anything like that. I want you to go out and do your own research because I should not be responsible for that. This is purely my opinion and purely my due diligence that I'm doing on a daily basis to make sure that the stock is good. But just to get that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop over here into the chart. So, overall for GameStop on Friday, we finished up 0.01%. We literally finished up 1 penny on the stock for the day. So it was not an overall very good day for GameStop. We definitely saw a lot of shorting, and then towards the end of the day, we actually saw a good bit of an kind of incline or steady growth back up to our 151 target, which is really huge because we do have this 150 support here that is really, it's kind of like a psychological and technical support here. And then we do have a support down at 135, but really between that, we don't have much of a support. And you can see that really within the stock because we fell and we ripped up, we fell, we ripped up. We did a little bit of consolidation here. I mean, it's a little bit, it's not much. And then we kind of got up here, tried to retest 150, got rejected, fell back down to about 146, and then had a nice rip up, did a little bit of consolidation, and then a little bit more consolidation, broke above 150, which was actually good. We really want to break above 150 because that is a very strong support for us. And then we kind of broke back down and then bought back into the close essentially. So overall, it was a very up and down day. And the one thing that I do want to point out here just on the intraday is we did have our intraday low here of 144. And then I'm going to draw this trend line out here. And the huge thing is we were making higher lows every single time, which is a good sign for us moving upwards and more of a micro bullish move within the day. So that's really what I'm looking for, as we have these micro moves of moving upwards. And when we can take a look at these candles, taking a look at the candles, you see them, essentially they have a giant, they're filled on the top, and then you have kind of like a little bit of a handle. What you want to call those is hammer candles. So essentially what that shows is that there's really strong buying pressure, but weak selling pressure kind of thing. So that's the reason why you see the top ends of these filled versus the bottom end of these filled. Now, if we had a bottom end of these filled, that shows very strong selling pressure and weak buying pressure. So keep that in mind. So, but really taking a look at it, the one thing I want to point out here on the intraday is the VWAP. For most of the day, I want to say we kind of spend 50-50 above and below it. So depending on when you bought GameStop, you might have profited from buying GameStop versus losing from it. But overall for the day, we pretty much traded about halfway above the VWAP. So just a reminder, again, the VWAP stands for what's called the volume weighted average price. So if you bought GameStop on Friday for any time during this day, this gold line would be an indicator. If we're above it, that means you most likely made money on your buy. If we're below it, it most likely means you lost money on your buy. So just keep that in mind. But taking a look at the RSI down here, we're sitting at 46 in the after hours. When we went into the close, we actually had a pretty harsh drop from overbought to about 41. So we really reset the RSI with that harsh drop. Taking a look at the MACD definitely has some volatile moves because we were pretty volatile the whole entire day. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a very volatile day. And keep in mind, going in the next week, tech earnings are going through, so it definitely is going to be a very volatile week within the market. You might think, well, what does tech have to do with GameStop? Overall, it's going to affect it because the VIX, the VIX, which stands for the volatility index, is going to go up this week. I can almost guarantee you. And when volatility goes up, we're going to see stronger moves within stocks, and we're going to see more rips, and then we're going to see stronger dips too. So just keep that in mind. But really, the huge thing I'm looking for us going into Monday is sitting at 151. We have the technical support at 158. If we want to have a bullish move, that's what I'm going to be looking for, is us to test 158 and see how often we get rejected from it. And once we get above it, if we get above it, can we close a candle above it and then test it as support and keep it as support? If we can't, then that's not a good sign for the stock. But if we hop out here to the 5-day, in the past 5 days, GameStop has been pretty much, I'm not going to lie to you guys, trending in a downwards direction. And we had one really solid day last week in the market, and the market was really green while GameStop was red. Now, that is an indicator of its beta, some people point out, and saying the fact that GameStop has a negative beta. So when the market is green, GameStop is normally red. So that may be the correlation to it. But really, when I was taking a look at it, GameStop trades more like a normal stock kind of thing. So I would like to believe that it would move along with the general stock market versus being the inverse of the stock market. So huge thing to point out here, though, is our support here at 158 that we want to keep in mind. And this line, this is going to be our bullish move for Monday. Is Monday, can we touch 158? Can we get rejected at 158 as that resistance? Or are we going to get back above it and trade above 158 and try to get back to 160? That would be our bullish move for Monday. But our bearish move would be breaking down below 150. And you can see exactly on Friday's chart of how the stock trades when it's below 150. It is very volatile. A lot of people are buying it up and a lot of people are selling it. But overall, taking a look here at the RSI, we're sitting at 40. And then if we take a look down here at the MACD going into the close, we're in bearish territory. So it's pointing very bearish. The fact that we had 1 penny of a positive day, you might want to thank Bobby, because Bobby commented on it on the video, hoping that we would have a green day, and we did end up having a green day. So I held Bobby accountable, and Bobby, thank you for the green day on GameStop, because I think a lot of us needed it. But if you can, do me a favor, drop a like on the video for Bobby. Let's move out to the 1 month time frame. So really, when I'm taking a look at this 1 month time frame, the huge thing that I'm noticing is we're really in a downwards trend, and that is not a good thing. I'm going to draw this support here, 172, because that is one of the supports, and that was pretty much the channel that we were trading in. But if I want to scroll out here, and I'm going to draw a trend line here from the bottom up to where we kind of are now. Drop that there. And then if I want to draw one from the high of this 218.86, come on, Weeble. Weeble, why? All right, I know what candle it is, so. Weeble, can you please improve your software? So the huge thing is when I'm drawing these trend lines is I'm looking for 3 touch points at least when I draw them to indicate some form of support. So we have one here, down here that I drew it on, and we have this wick that we have touched on, and then most recently on our next couple of days. And then really, we have our high since our last really rip up, because I think that's the point that we really want to take a look at here. And let's bring this. Yeah, we'll leave it. But from our high here, of course, Weeble, now you decide to grab it. Come on. And then we have our descending, and then we touch here, here, and here. And we're really forming this wedge. And that's the huge thing is I'm looking at us having this descending pattern. And with this descending pattern, we're going to form a wedge, and then we're eventually going to have to make a move. So what that tells me is in the next 1, 2, and then we have the 3 days really here at the tip. The next 3 days, I personally think that GameStop needs to make some form of move because we've been trading down, 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 down. And what's going to happen is, and many of you are not going to like to hear this, I think it might be a bearish move because indicative of the past couple of days, really almost the whole entire month, we've been trading in pretty much a very downward channel. We have not had many green days in the past month. We've had far many red days compared to green days. So that's really what I'm going to be looking for. And the RSI sitting here at 48 is good because we're below neutral. And then if we take a look at the MACD on the 1 month time frame, 1 hour time frame, we're technically in bullish territory now. So that is a good thing to take a look at. But we're trading below the 120-day, 60-day, and 20-day moving averages. So that is a very bearish signal. So we have a little bit of mixed signals here. But if I were to give my opinion, I would say that within the next 3 days, we should be looking at some form of move happening within GameStop because we're getting into this channel. Now, we could continue this wedge and continue getting tighter and tighter and tighter if we want. But I think eventually with these supports that we have here, we gotta make some form of move. I can highlight the 135 support down here that we touched back here on the 13th. So maybe it might be a breakdown to 135 and then we might moon, who knows? Because you see a lot of people comparing the Volkswagen squeeze of, you had this giant squeeze and then you had like a little mini squeeze is the best way to describe it. You have a mini squeeze and we had like a decline and then we had the giant squeeze kind of thing. So maybe it might be that. I don't know. Remember, take everything what I say with a grain of salt. This is not financial advice. This is just purely my opinion. The next thing I really want to do is I'm going to hop out to the year to date. And what this is going to do is this is going to give us our day chart. And that's really what we want to take a look at is take a look at it macro point of view of what do we look like on the day. And the RSI is sitting here at 45. We do have a bearish MACD. So keep that in mind. On a macro perspective, we have a bearish MACD. We're getting ready to go below the equilibrium. The signal is above the MACD, which is a bearish indicator. We do have the 120-day moving average moving up, though. It is sitting at $87. We have the 60-day moving average sitting at 147, and then the 20-day sitting at 167.98. So we are above two of them right now. So we're above the 120-day and 60-day, but we're below the 20-day. So that's not a good sign. So on a macro perspective, moving price average, we're in bullish territory, but on a micro perspective, we're in bearish territory. So take that for what you want, but really you can see my wedge here is the huge thing is within the next couple of days, we have to make some sort of move. And I really think it's going to be some move. I hate to say it, probably to the downside, unless if we have a couple of strong green days and make this breakout to the top side. I can't personally see it. From a technical perspective, I mean, I could even draw it out. Let's actually delete all these lines here. I'll draw it out from our low, which is right here. Our low of the post squeeze right here. And then I'll draw it from the high of our post squeeze, which is here, the 348.50. And keep in mind, I'm a bag holder right now because I bought at 325 right before we literally fell down. Now, I'm not going to be able to connect 3 points here, so this isn't exactly the best wedge, but really what you can see is we've been pretty much trading down below and we're getting to this level of support here, an upward movement within this wedge. Now, if we break down below it, that's going to be a very bearish signal. Now, we do have a couple more days that we can fill this wedge out before we have to make some form of decision. So that's really what I'm looking for in the next couple of days is what decision is GameStop going to have? Is it going to be a bullish move or is it going to have a bearish move? So let's hop over here and cover Ortex. And the huge thing with Ortex that I want to cover is the fact that our short interest actually decreased by 3.44% on Friday, which means that someone likely was covering their position. I can't point a finger and say if they're exactly covering their position, but it likely is because this is a large decrease in short volume for GameStop. So now we're currently sitting at 26.71% of our free float. Still incredibly high short interest. Really, really high short interest. So this is definitely still squeezable. But this short interest change tells me that someone like more than likely covered their position. Our current short interest is still sitting at 12.53 million. It was 244,300 shares borrowed on Friday. And then the return shares was sitting at 771,300. So there's an outstanding negative change of 527,000 shares. So the huge thing is the short interest changed. However, our utilization has, I believe, actually gone up. We're sitting at 57% now of our utilization, which is actually pretty significantly high. Our cost to borrow is sitting at 1.40, which is higher than what it was 7 days ago. And our days to cover, which is calculated by your free float on loan, which is this 30, my bad, your shares on loan, which is this 15.34 million by your average volume. Now keep in mind, this is kind of skewed because this is calculated based off of your 3-month moving average volume versus your daily moving average volume. So we take this 15.34 million and we hop back over here into Webull and take a look at what our volume was the other day. So 4 million was what was traded roughly on GameStop. So if we want to do the math, let's just round it up to 16 just to make it easy for us. We're looking at 4 days to cover versus 0.4 days to cover. So that's the huge difference, is they're looking at the 3-month average volume versus the daily average volume. So that's a large difference. Now, the huge thing I want to do, and this is a bit speculative, but a lot of people on Reddit have pointed out with this increase in the day, it was because shorts were covering their position, and that was the whole reason why the price was moving up. Maybe the reason why position with the stock was moving up, or it may not be. But personally, we still have a very large outstanding short balance, and this is definitely still squeezable in my eyes. But it is a little bit concerning that we had such a negative day when shorts were covering their position. So that really doesn't jive with me too much. And then also our volume has really evaporated. That's the huge thing that needs to change, is our volume needs to come back and step back in. And even for us to even have the possibility of a squeeze, we have to have volume. If we don't have volume, completely forget about a squeeze happening. But what I got for you guys today, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.